Clearcom Arcadia Central Station now supports integration with HelixNet Digital Partyline. In a one ARC.U package, Arcadia powers the wired and wireless analog and digital intercom systems, together with Dante connectivity. This latest set of features also includes a 5 gigahertz scanning tool for FreeSpeak Edge systems. Now, Mary, I know you were curious about some of the aspects of this.
I do. I think what's happening in the world of intercom is pretty exciting. Philip, how do you see this simplifying workflows?
You know, as we go to remote productions, you know, we've lived them for the last 2 years. The ability to communicate with your team members is very important, and the concept of a party line where everybody can talk to one another at the same time on a single line is very similar to everybody being in a control room and being able to shout and talk. So we're starting to see these technologies be utilized to be able to push people to the edge, to where production teams can be co-located or separated across the United States, across the world, and still be able to produce large, professional production. So it's kind of interesting to see where these technologies are going.
Do you see, we've all had a lot of shakeups technologically in the past 2 years, and intercom has always been pretty stable, not a ton of new advances. Do you see this really kind of shaking up the world of intercom and making it more accessible?
I don't know if I'd say shaking it up, but definitely making it more accessible, simplifying it. Intercom takes a lot of technology from what would be the telecom industry, obviously. And they're now simplifying it, making it easier for teams to utilize the technologies without having to require a PhD from MIT to set them up.
All right, now moving on to the Alexa 35 digital camera. It's the first to feature a completely new sensor, the 4.K Aleph 4, delivering 2.5 stops more dynamic range, better low light performance, and richer colors. Philip, how do you think that this is going to change camera operations in general?
So it's exciting. This camera was announced a while back, or leaked, announced, and then it finally came out. So it's a year or so, I think, since the first announcement. What's interesting, it's a super 35 millimeter sensor. We've seen a lot of cameras come out recently that are full frame, and Ari is stuck with super 35. And I personally think that that's probably a sensor here to stay for a long time. The dynamic range is always one of those things that manufacturers tend to sort of push the measurement boundaries on what they can actually get. But from some of the early testing that I've seen, it looks like Ari really did get it 17 stops or so of dynamic range. And they're known for their color science and just high-end, movie production. So I think, and it's also a 4.6K sensor, where a lot of Ari's earlier sensors weren't actually 4K. They were 3.5, 3.6K. So this is a true 4K, greater than 4K sensor. So I think it's really going to provide a lot more tools for filmmakers when it comes to creating movies, and that 17 stops of dynamic range is really something that could give a lot of directors and cinematographers that extra little oomph in the creative realm, from lighting to storytelling. So I'm excited to see it. It's an expensive camera. I don't think I'll be owning one, but I look forward to being able to use one shortly.